Welcome to Studio 51. I'm Katie Knuckles.
And I'm Sean Keenahan. Studio 51 is a weekly news magazine produced by Loyola University students in Chicago. Our name is Studio 51 because we're located on 51 East Pearson in this beautiful street studio in downtown Chicago.
We've got a great show for you. A look at the top news this week around the world and in Chicago, sports in 51 seconds, and in a new segment, our techie wakes you up with a new app. That and more.
We also have a special report on a Loyola campus event addressing gender violence. Our foodie takes a look at a jam and restaurant in Lincoln Park. But first, here's our news roundup with Studio 51's news beat reporter, Tahera Rahman.
Thanks, Sean. The gun control debate has been heating up across the nation. A new measure was just passed in Connecticut on Thursday. The law would make the state's gun laws one of the toughest in the country. The legislation adds more than 100 firearms to Connecticut's ban on assault weapons, and it also creates what officials call the first dangerous weapon offender registry. This law follows the mass shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. Baseball fever was in the air Monday, but opening day did not see a close to Wrigley Field negotiations. Chairman Tom Ricketts had set a Monday deadline, but talks are still ongoing with city officials. The newest issues on the table, a hotel complex and parking garage near the renovated field. Should the Cubs stay at Wrigley Field or move out to the suburbs? That's the subject of our Point Counterpoint segment later on in the show. The CTA seems to be moving at full speed lately. Amid rail and station construction comes another huge change, the new Venture card system. Old cards are being ditched for new technology that uses the tap-to-pay system, but some Chicago residents just aren't buying it. Studio 51's Caitlin Wilson has more.
With only a few months left to go before the start of the new Venture card system, the Chicago Transit Authority is still explaining itself to a confused and disgruntled city.
The new way to pay for the CTA will completely overhaul the current system. Starting this summer, riders will forgo their magnetic strip cards for new tap-to-pay cards called Ventra. Chicagoans will also be able to use them as credit cards to pay for everyday items, although CTA Venture spokesperson Lambriti Lukidis says they are not primarily meant for outside purchases.
Our main focus is transit, and there's no fees associated with having a Ventra transit account.
Users will sign up for a new Venture card, which costs $5. That money becomes ride credit after users register online. Some people will be able to pay with their own credit cards. Single-use cards will cost $3, which includes the $2.25 ride. You can still pay for the bus with cash. Some people are excited about the simplicity of the new system.
So if it's going to allow you to upload money or pay without, sort of thinking about it, that'll be a lot easier.
But others don't want to fix something that's not broken.
I think it's dumb to change systems that are already working.
And many still aren't even sure what the new system will mean.
But I saw something on the Reddit about the hidden fees, and it doesn't sound like something I would be interested in.
The Venture website shows the various ways users may rack up extra charges, like a $5 inactivity fee or a $2 customer service fee. It costs money to load credit to the prepaid cards, and they are also subject to normal debit card fees, like for ATM withdrawals. These fees have concerned residents and lawmakers alike.
I don't want to be paying extra for transportation because we already pay a lot as it is.
On Tuesday, State Representative Deborah Mell expressed her dissatisfaction. But the CTA says you should be able to avoid these fees.
If somebody does want to avoid those, there's a number of free options that they can use.
Most discounted fares will still be available. The CTA prints millions of magnetic strip cards every year. They hope Venture cards will save money and make boarding transit more efficient.
Riders are set to start using the new Venture cards this summer. Current cards will become defunct in 2014 after what the CTA calls a long transition process. Someday, you'll even be able to pay by tapping your phone. For Studio 51, I'm Caitlin Wilson.
Thanks, Caitlin. And don't expect the CTA to hit the brakes anytime soon. The agency announced Wednesday that it plans to upgrade the subway's cell phone service on the red and blue lines, making the underground connection quicker and stronger. Meanwhile, the Chicago public school system is undergoing a change of its own. Many parents are still protesting the decision to close 54 schools, mostly on the south and west sides. CPS announced the plan about 2 weeks ago, but many parental groups are concerned about the safety of the school transfers and transportation and have requested more meetings with the mayor. Finally, Loyola was in the news last week. The city council gave its okay to build a new Quinlan 10-story school of business. So Katie and Sean, that means a lot of construction right outside our window.
Well, Tahara, before you go, we know that you're the Loyola's editor-in-chief for the Phoenix. When is this construction going to start, and how long is it going to take?
Well, according to school officials, construction can start as early as this summer or in the fall, and it could open its doors by as soon as 2015.
Now, Tahara, in the meantime, what happens to the current School of Business?
Well, officials also said that, in the next few months, the offices and businesses that are located on Loyola's properties are going to have to be relocated, so either to Baumhart Hall or other nearby properties.
Okay. Thank you, Tahara.
Yep.
We'll make sure we keep our eye on the construction. In the meantime, you can pick up your copy of the Loyola Phoenix every Wednesday on campus here at Loyola, and you can visit Loyola Phoenix online at www.loyolaphoenix.com. Now, we have a new segment this week called Tech Talk, where our techie takes a look at the latest and greatest gadgets, toys, and programs. Here's techie Jason Weeder.
Thanks, Sean. Well, this week we're talking about apps for mobile devices. Smartphones and most tablets come with apps already loaded on them, but you can choose from hundreds of thousands of others from your respective app stores. Most apps are free, however, some can cost up to $1,000. But downloading them is easy. All you need to do is click download and let the program do the rest. Today we're looking at the Rise Alarm Clock app. It's a wonderful alternative to your phone's built-in alarm with a few extra added features. For example, suppose you don't want to wake up to your phone's boring old ringtone. You can choose from 12 different alarm tones, and you can even set songs from your iTunes library. But let's say your problem isn't waking up but falling asleep. The app has a function to create a bedtime playlist so you can fill it up with relaxing music and drift off to sleep. If you have to get out of bed right away, you can repeat the alarm or adjust the snooze. And speaking of the snooze, all you need to do is shake the phone to silence the alarm. Rise Alarm Clock is available for both iPhone and iPad on Apple's App Store and costs $1.99. If you know a new app or gadget that we should feature on the show, email us at studio51news@gmail.com. And that's this week's Tech Talk. For Studio 51, I'm Jason Weeder.
Thanks, Jason. After the break, our health report takes a look at the protest against Kraft's macaroni and cheese.
Also coming up, how are your brackets shaping up? Sports in 51 Seconds takes a look at March Madness and Opening Day. Stay with us.
I'm here. Hello.
Mom, I'm busy. I can't talk right now, right? But I love you. I love you too, okay? Talk to you later.
Long before we met, my heart was painting you. Now I'm standing here just staring at your face.
Oh my God, he was so incredibly rude. I can't even believe I went. He was so not worth my time. I didn't even know what to do. I just left. I was so mad.
He's so much better. Oh my God, are you okay, Olivia? Olivia? Hello? Olivia?
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Big week in health with a new study about our brains. But a lot of people are asking questions about Kraft's macaroni and cheese. Here with details on the stories and more on our health beat is reporter Mary Sugden.
Thanks, Katie. Would you believe one of the major health stories this week was about Kraft's macaroni and cheese? So-called mommy bloggers started the petition drive questioning the safety of 2 yellow dyes used in the macaroni and cheese products. More than 270,000 people signed a petition on change.org to remove the dyes. Bloggers claim yellow dye number 5 and number 6 used in the mac and cheese are linked to hyperactivity in children and other health problems. Kraft says the dyes are perfectly safe. In other health news, the White House has unveiled a $1 million plan on brain research. The initiative will study brain cells and their circuits in order to better understand treatments for diseases such as Alzheimer's and autism. And speaking of autism, April is Autism Awareness Month. According to autismsociety.org, 1 in 88 children in America could be diagnosed with autism. Currently, boys have a higher rate of autism compared to girls, with 1 in 54 boys diagnosed with the disease. And finally, good news for students looking to boost those test scores. According to a study at University of California, Santa Barbara, meditation is the key to raising test scores. After weeks of meditation training, students performed better with memory and reading comprehension. And that's what's been happening in the Health Beat this week. For Studio 51, I'm Mary Sugden.
Thanks, Mary. And now, Katie, have you ever meditated before a test before?
I actually have. In my Hinduism class, we start every class with a short meditation.
Is that right? Okay, I actually have a Spanish test coming up next week. Maybe I can get some tips after the show.
Sounds good. So what's going on with your March Madness?
For me, it's terrible. All my teams are out. I'm happy to see a team, though, like Wichita State still in the running, so.
Let's get our sports fix with Dominique Stem and Sports in 51 Seconds.
Thanks, Katie and Sean. Well, it's April and baseball season has officially begun. The White Sox took on the Kansas City Royals for the home opener and got the win, while the Cubs won their first game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, but lost the next game in the series 0-3. Not surprising. Both the Sox and the Cubs play this weekend. March Madness is in its home stretch as Wichita State, Michigan, Syracuse, and number 1 seed Louisville head down to Atlanta this weekend for the Final Four. I'll tell you, this Final Four was nothing like I predicted, and I think you folks out there can agree, but I did have Louisville winning it all. After the gruesome injury guard Kevin Ware suffered in Sunday's game, I hope that gives them all the motivation to bring home the trophy and cut down the nets. It looks like the Louisville girls also took the same motivation as the guys did as they knocked off number 1 seed Baylor and snapped their 38-game winning streak on Sunday as well. And finally, in the NBA world, the Spurs faced the Thunder in the Eastern Conference Showdown, and the Bulls faced the Nets, but will win, of course, on Thursday night. Looks like I'm out of time. I'm Dominique Stem. This has been Sports in 51 Seconds, and go Bulls.
Thanks, Dominique. Our resident foodie traveled to a sweet dining spot this week. Here's Caitlin McMurray with her full report.
Nutella lovers rejoice. I found the perfect place for you. Over the weekend, I decided to venture into Lincoln Park and try out Jam and Honey, a restaurant off the Fullerton Red Line stop known for its scrumptious breakfast and lunch menus. Large jars of Nutella were on every table, so I knew this would be a good place to eat. Feeling a little overwhelmed with the menu's many food options, I decided to go with the Nutella and banana waffle. My friend was torn between getting the stuffed French toast or the Mexican 3-egg omelet, but decided on the French toast. The food promptly arrived about 15 minutes later. The waffle was a little bit undercooked, but the heaps of whipped cream on top of the bananas and Nutella made the undercooked waffle barely noticeable. Plus, with that large jar of Nutella on the table, who wouldn't be content? My friend said it was the best French toast she had ever had and was really happy with her decision. Overall, the service was great and the atmosphere of the restaurant was friendly and comfortable. My only advice would be to try to get there in between peak times for breakfast and lunch because it got pretty crowded by noon. For those of you on a budget, you may want to save this place for a special day because it was a little pricey. My Nutella and banana waffle was $10 alone, and that was without a drink. For those credit card users out there, you may want to have a break. You may want to break open your piggy bank because right now they're only accepting cash. This is a sweet and jamming place to eat, so I would definitely recommend trying it. For Studio 51, I'm your foodie, Caitlin McMurray.
Thanks, Caitlin. Coming up, did you know April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month? We have a report on a Loyola event addressing gender-based violence.
Also coming up, are you planning any outdoor activities this weekend? We have Chicago's full forecast ahead. Stay with us.
Life is full of distractions. Some are minor. Crash, look who it is. Others are more severe.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Is this the Phoenix Loyola student newspaper?
Yes.
I'm near your headquarters. Mind if I drop in?
Absolutely. Our offices are in the basement of the CFSU.
Yikes.
Where are you?
Phoenix? Arizona?
You know, becoming a part of the Phoenix isn't that difficult. It's actually quite easy. Give us a call, shoot us an email. Who knows? You might even win yourself one of these bad boys. Could change your life.
Thanks for staying with us. We already know that April is Autism Awareness Month, but it is also Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Soon on Loyola's campus, you'll be seeing some t-shirts hanging on clotheslines. It's all part of a nationwide campaign, and Studio 51's Stephanie Sanford has a report.
I'm here at Loyola University's Water Tower campus, where the Clothesline Project is encouraging students to make t-shirts as an educational and healing tool against gender violence. The t-shirt's colors represent different types of gender violence, including sexual assault and rape. After the t-shirts are decorated, they are to be hung up on clotheslines rather than to be worn. A volunteer at the Sexual Advocacy Line wants her t-shirt to be a message of empowerment.
I'm hoping when it's done, it'll say, I'm not damaged goods, I'm awesome because of my experiences.
The Clothesline Project is put on by Loyola Sexual Assault Advocacy and is not only about violence against women.
Well, it's definitely not just a women's issue. You know, men can also be survivors. Men can look back and realize that in some ways they may have been perpetrators and reflect on that.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Loyola's Wellness Center is putting on multiple events to inform students about sexual assault.
So specifically for Loyola, we would just want to kind of display our solidarity and unity in expressing that we do not support gender-based violence, but we do have resources on campus for survivors.
The message of this event is to not tolerate any type of gender violence. Many of the t-shirts aim to give courage and support to survivors of gender-based violence. Look for t-shirts like these that will be hung up all over Loyola's campus this month. I'm Stephanie Sanford, reporting for Studio 51 News.
Well, we all know that it was opening day for baseball teams this week, and the old song Take Me Out to the Ball Game may have new lyrics for the Cubs. Take me out to the suburbs. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? That's the subject of this week's Point Counterpoint with Stephanie Skelnick and Kristen Immel.
While the Chicago Cubs and the city of Chicago are negotiating changes and renovations to Wrigley Field, Rosemont Mayor Brad Stevens is offering 25 acres of land for the Cubs to build a new field on, free of charge. If the Ricketts accept the offer, the Cubs would hightail it to Rosemont, a suburb just outside of Chicago. What do you think about this, Stephanie?
Well, I think this is a terrible idea. When fans go to a game, they don't go just to watch the Cubs because the Cubs usually lose. They go to enjoy a night in Wrigley Field because Wrigley Field is just steps away from bars and restaurants, and you can't just replace that kind of environment and locate it to the suburbs.
I get what you mean, but the Chicago Cubs are tied to the history of that stadium. I understand that. But they're also tied to the history of losing. So I think moving the stadium to Rosemont, or the team to Rosemont, would be amazing and a fresh start for the team.
Well, I agree. The Cubs definitely need a fresh start, but tourists go to Wrigley Field. It's a historical landmark. They go just to say that they went there, and that's a lot of money that's being brought in by tourists. And the Cubs were just recently named the 4th most valuable team in baseball, and a lot of that has to do with location.
I think Wrigleyville can survive without the Cubs being there. The community could prosper. In fact, there's been numerous noise complaints over the year and the traffic on the CTA and violence in the area. So I think the community in general will prosper because of it and the history that has been there.
Well, I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree. Join us next week as we heat up
or cool down another controversial topic. I'm Kristen Immel.
And I'm Stephanie Skelnick. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kristen and Stephanie. As always, we want to know what you think. You can email us at studio51news@gmail.com, and you can also tweet us at Studio51News.
We thought with the onset of spring we'd pay more attention to the weather, especially the weekend weather. So we welcome Studio 51's weekend weather forecaster, Wendy Esparza. Wendy, how does it look?
Thank you, Katie and Sean. I've got good news. We'll see 60s in the forecast. Yes, 60s. Let's take a look at what this weekend has in store for us. Today, partly sunny, windy, and cooler with a high of 48, and then it drops down to 34. Saturday, mainly cloudy, breezy, and warmer. Showers will likely develop in the evening, so you might want to pull out an umbrella. High of 64 and a low of 44. On Sunday, fortunately for those of us running in the Shamrock Shuffle, it will not rain, but it will be cloudy and cooler with a high of 50 and low of 40. Perfect running weather. Hope to see you there. That's all for the weekend weather. I'm Wendy Esparza. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Wendy. Good luck to everyone running the Shamrock Shuffle this weekend. And for those of you on the Lakeshore campus, take a stroll and check out the Damon Center on campus.
The Damon Center definitely gets a thumbs up from me. To all our viewers, thanks for watching, and we have a sad note to bring you. After a long battle with cancer, it was announced that Roger Ebert passed away, and here at Studio 51, we just want to send our regards, and for Roger Ebert, we appreciate all of your insight over the years. He will be missed.
Absolutely. Well, for Studio 51, I'm Katie Knuckles.
And I'm Sean Keenahan.
Join us next week. Have a great weekend.